Comfort is not just your enemy. It is the silent coffin you've been sleeping in while life keeps passing you by. Every day you wake up, go through the same patterns, and you don't even realize the lid is already half closed. That coffin isn't built of wood or nails. It's built of habits, of compromises, of routines that feel safe but kill you slowly. And here's the brutal truth. The system wants you exactly there, lazy enough to comply, predictable enough to control, weak enough to never fight back. That's why most people never escape. They stay average, trapped, thinking they're free when every move they make is programmed for them. If you're too soft to face this, you can stop here. But if you're still listening, it means there's something inside you that refuses to stay buried. It means you're ready to smash that coffin, even if it splinters every belief you were raised on. The first shift begins by destroying one of the biggest mental traps in existence, the obsession with being right. Average minds chase approval, validation, moral safety. They ask, is this fair? Is this acceptable? Will people approve? But these questions do not move you forward. They paralyze you. They keep you in a loop where every choice needs permission, where every action must be filtered through the expectations of people who aren't living your life. Smart thinkers operate differently. They don't care if a move feels righteous to the crowd, they care if it works. Does it produce results? Does it get them closer to their target? Right is subjective. It shifts with culture, religion, politics, and whatever rules society invents to control the herd. What works is undeniable. It's cold, measurable, and effective. A lion doesn't pause to ask if the hunt is fair. A general doesn't delay battle to ask if it's polite. They both operate from the same question. Does this win? The moment you adopt this frame, your entire decision-making system transforms. You stop chasing perfection and start pursuing leverage. You stop trying to look good and start aiming to get results. And when you finally realize that the world doesn't reward good intentions, it rewards clarity, precision, and execution, you stop hesitating. From now on, every move you make should pass a single test. Does this push me closer to my objective? Not what's trendy, not what feels comfortable, not what earns applause, only what wins. But knowing what works isn't enough if your daily system is set up to sabotage you. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because their defaults are broken, and they don't even know it. Your defaults are the automatic settings running your life without your permission. How you wake up, how you spend your mornings, how you respond to stress, how you use your free time. These aren't just habits. They're invisible programming dictating your future. If your defaults are average, your life will always stay average. The smartest people understand this and rewrite their entire operating system. They build environments where good choices happen automatically and bad choices are nearly impossible. If they want to save money, they automate transfers before they even see the cash. If they want to stay healthy, they design their day so movement and clean eating don't require thought. If they want to stay focused, they eliminate distractions from their space completely. Average people spend every day fighting themselves. They rely on willpower, and willpower is temporary. Smart people design systems that fight for them so progress becomes inevitable. Ask yourself, does your environment push you forward or pull you down? Are your habits aligned with who you want to become or with who you've always been? Once you rewrite your defaults, success stops feeling like a battle. It becomes natural, effortless, almost automatic. But until you make that upgrade, your life is being run by a script you didn't write. Now zoom out of your daily routine and look at how most people live their entire lives. They think about Friday, about their next paycheck, about how to survive the week. Then they repeat it for years, stuck in mental tunnels so narrow they can't see beyond the next step. And that's why they stay average forever. The most intelligent people operate on a different timeline. They think in decades, but they act in days. Every decision is judged by one question. What will this create for me 10 years from now? They understand the compounding effect that a skill sharpened today multiplies for years, that a connection built now opens doors a decade from now, that an investment started today quietly grows while others waste time. But thinking long-term doesn't mean waiting forever. They pair this big-picture vision with relentless daily urgency. They write the page, make the call, launch the idea, take the step, today, not someday. And because they do, their future actually arrives. This dual lens, long-term clarity combined with immediate action, is a rare weapon. Average people sprint toward comfort. Smart people plant seeds and water them every day. And while most are still waiting for their break, the ones who acted are already living the life they planned 10 years ago. But here's something just as important. None of this matters if your energy is being drained by the need to perform for the crowd. Most people spend their entire lives trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, trying to win applause from people who don't even think about them twice. They post for validation. They speak to be liked. They waste hours and years trying to prove something to an audience that isn't paying attention. This is the social energy trap, and it is one of the biggest prisons keeping people stuck. When your self-worth depends on external approval, you no longer control your own life, you've handed over the keys. Intelligent people see this trap for what it is and do the opposite. They detach from the need to explain themselves. They stop defending their choices. They stop asking to be understood. All that energy that was once spent performing gets redirected into building, into sharpening skills, into growing wealth, into creating freedom. At first, it feels brutal. You will feel isolated. People will question you. Some will even attack you. But something powerful happens. You become immune to noise. Criticism stops biting. Praise stops distracting you. Suddenly, every ounce of energy is channeled into results that no one can ignore. Remember this: the crowd is addicted to comfort. Builders are addicted to progress. The moment you stop performing for approval, your focus sharpens to a razor's edge, your mind becomes lethal, and you become unstoppable. The seventh shift changes how you deal with everything you cannot control. Most people spend their lives obsessing over outcomes that will never fully be in their hands. They panic about results, recognition, money, deadlines, and other people's opinions. And when things don't go their way, their emotions spiral out of control. But here's what those who rise above average understand. Outcomes are unpredictable, but inputs are always yours to command. They pour their energy only into the things they can control: their actions, their skills, their discipline, and their consistency. They know that outcomes are nothing more than the result of accumulated inputs, so they build a system and trust the process. They do the work, track the data, refine, repeat. No emotion, no drama, no wasted energy on what cannot be influenced. This mindset keeps them steady while others collapse into frustration and paralysis. And ironically, when you stop chasing outcomes and put your full focus on upgrading your inputs, you reach those goals faster, because every ounce of energy is going where it matters. Ask yourself right now, how much of your day is spent worrying about what you can't control? How much of your growth is being delayed because your attention is scattered by fear, impatience, and external noise? Shift that attention to what is in your hands, and you create unstoppable momentum. Once you control your inputs, the next leap is to stop playing even games. The eighth shift is about seeking asymmetry, finding those rare moves where a small action has a massive upside and almost no downside. Average people waste years trading time for money, working harder just to keep up, and playing by rules that guarantee a slow climb. Smart thinkers refuse to play fair games. They ask, where is the one decision that can return 10 times the reward for the same amount of effort? Where is the investment, the skill, the strategy that compounds while I sleep? Where is the position that draws opportunities to me instead of me chasing them? This is what tilts the board completely in your favor. It's not luck. It's deliberately waiting for the rare asymmetric opportunity, saying no to distractions, and then going all in when it appears. It's refusing to settle for linear growth when exponential growth is possible. Most people take dozens of small bets that barely move their life forward. Meta-intelligent people wait patiently, focused, relentless, for the one move that redefines the entire game. They engineer their life so heavily in their favor that losing becomes nearly impossible. Look at your own action show. Many of them are truly high-return moves, and how many are just busy work disguised as progress? Stop playing even games. Start stacking the odds so heavily toward victory that success becomes the only possible outcome. But here's the problem with waiting until you feel like it. Motivation is one of the biggest scams you've been sold, and that brings us to the ninth shift: replace motivation with identity. Average people wait for motivation. They rely on temporary emotional highs to push them into action, and the moment that feeling fades, they stop. This is why so many goals die before they even begin. Smart thinkers build from a completely different foundation. They don't say, "I want to do this." They say, "I am this." They don't say, "I want to be disciplined." They say, "I am the kind of person who never misses." They don't say, "I want to be wealthy." They say, "I am the kind of person who multiplies money automatically." Identity forces behavior to align with belief. You cannot consistently act against who you think you are. And once you've locked in a powerful identity, execution becomes automatic. This is why those who adopt this shift seem unstoppable. They aren't waiting for emotional energy to carry them. Their actions are a direct expression of who they have decided to be. Ask yourself, what identity are you reinforcing every day through your habits? What kind of person are you becoming, not in theory, but in action? Every choice you make casts a vote for your future self. Keep casting votes long enough, and you don't just hit your goals, you become the type of person who makes those goals inevitable. That's when mediocrity becomes impossible. All of this means nothing if your most powerful resource, your mind, is being bled dry by distractions, noise, and toxic energy. The 10th shift is about protecting your mental bandwidth as if your life depends on it. Because it does. Average people treat their attention like it's limitless. They scroll endlessly, argue with strangers, and give access to anyone who asks for it. And then they wonder why they can't focus, why they can't execute, why they feel exhausted before they even begin. Intelligent people guard their attention with ruthless precision. They understand their mind is the ultimate tool, the asset that determines everything they can build, and every distraction is a thief stealing from their future. So they cut without hesitation. They eliminate low-value conversations. They remove obligations that drain their energy but produce nothing. They simplify their routines to reduce decision fatigue, and they become unreachable to anything that doesn't matter. This isn't coldness, this is focus. This is choosing to build a life where your mental clarity is so sharp that you can think deeper, execute faster, and spot opportunities others are blind to. When your attention is fractured, you live in constant reaction. When your attention is clean and concentrated, you become unstoppable. Ask yourself honestly, what distractions are silently stealing your future? Who or what must you cut off to reclaim your focus? Because where your attention lives, your life is built. Guard it, or lose everything to the noise. And now you've been given all 10 shifts and weapons to dismantle the coffin you've been lying in and build a life most people can't even imagine. But here's the reality. Knowing them means nothing if you don't act. The world is filled with people who know and nearly empty of people who do. The difference between staying average and breaking free is one decision, made right now, not tomorrow, not someday. Which shift hit you the hardest? Which one burned in your mind while you were listening? Anti-fragility, asymmetry, identity? Drop that word into your own head, burn it in, and start. Because average ends the moment you decide to walk away from it. You've seen the door. Now the question is, will you step through, or close it and keep lying in the coffin while the world moves on without you?